Hello and welcome back to Engineeringly. In this video, you're going to learn how to connect different data sources or different files in Microsoft Power BI and create dynamic and interactive dashboards using that data located in different sources. If you have the experience of working as a data analyst or maybe a business analyst, you know that all your data is not always located in the same destination or in the same source. So for that purpose, what you need to do is connect multiple files from different sources into a single source and then do the necessary analysis. So in that case, what you have to do is to connect multiple files from different sources and then do the necessary analysis and create the dashboards in order for your team to communicate and report the status of all the deliverables or the KPIs that your team is working on. So in here, as you can see, I have a data set for sales data. If you wanted to have access to this data set, comment down below this video and I'll be more than glad to share the data with you. So in here, as you can see, I have the slicers and everything. For example, if I select 2015, as you can see, all of my data will be filtered out for 2015. And if I select a specific category of items that are sold through this store, the information on the dashboard will be updated for that specific category of things. In today's video, we'll be mainly focusing on two things. Number one would be to connect multiple files from different sources in Microsoft Power BI using Power Query. Number two would be to create an interactive dashboard for our sales data. In order to create dashboards using Microsoft Power BI, there are other videos available on this YouTube channel as well. If you're interested, you can refer to the Power BI playlist on this YouTube channel and explore more. So once you have your Power BI open, then you go and click the blank report. From here, we can input our data from multiple and different types of sources. If you go and click the data in here, you can see that we can import the data from a CSV file, web, or maybe Excel workbook. In our today's video, we have located all our data in an Excel workbook in 3 different Excel workbooks, and we will input the data from those Excel workbooks in here. So I'll click the Excel workbook, and our first data set is the orders data. So I'll click this and click open. So I'll click the sheet named orders. So if your data looks perfect, then you can directly import it and load it into Microsoft Power BI. But if you're unsure and wanted to make some changes, for example, percentage might be written as a decimal number and you want to change it to percentage, in order to make sure that everything is perfectly aligned, we will transform the data before loading it into Microsoft Power BI. So in here, as you can see, we have the row ID as a number, and then the order ID is like text, and then the dates are shown by the calendar icon in here, which means a date. The only thing that we need to make sure that are like correctly formatted are the sales, for example. This should be currency, and let's add it as a new step, and then the quantity is a number. Discount should be wages in percentage. We should have this in percentage, and then we have the profit. This should be a fixed decimal number as well, and then we have the shipping cost, which is fixed decimal number. And since everything else seems to be okay, I'll go and click close and apply. And now I will add the other 2 sources that we had. Again, I'll go to Excel workbook from the data type in here. I have the orders data set in there. So next is the customers data, and I'll input this as well. And for this one, we will not need a lot of formatting or transforming our data. The only thing that we will need to do is to have this as headers of these columns. So for that purpose, go to transform data. And in here, what we would need to do is we will replace the headers, which are like by default name, like column 1 and column 2. We'll click this, use first row as headers. Once this is done, we'll go and close and apply. And now we will import the 3rd source that we have. So that is in Excel workbook as well. That is the returns data. And since you can see the return, the order ID are not like the headers in here. So in order to make sure that they are identified as headers by Microsoft Power BI, what I will do is use first row as headers and then go to close and apply. So now I have all the three sources loaded into Microsoft Power BI. The next thing is to connect them with each other. So in order to connect them, I'll click here, the model view. So by default, Microsoft Power BI might have identified some of the, the identifiers or the keys in here and in here. But what we need to do is, we will remove this for now. I'll click this and press delete, and I'll delete this, and we will connect both of this to our first source, which was the orders data. So in orders data from here, what I should connect is the order ID from this, which is the returns data. I'll double click this one and drag it on this one. So save this. As you can see, the order ID is connected to this. For the next one, we have the person and the region. So in here, basically the person is the customer. So I'll drag the customer name on person in here. Again, manage one single and click save. So once we have ensured that the sources are perfectly connected with each other, we will go to the report view. So once we have connected multiple data sources to each other, the next thing is in here is to create the visualizations. So for that purpose, I'll go to visualization, I'll create a line chart for the amount of sales per year. So in order to do that, I'll select from the orders. So in here, I'll place the order date into the x-axis, and I'll remove the day, month, and quarter from here, since I only need the year to be displayed on my chart. Next thing is to have the sales. So as you can see, in here we have the sales, which is broken down by years. So next thing is to format the visual. So make sure that you have clicked on the visual in here and it is selected, then go to format your visual. The first thing in here will be to remove the labels from the y-axis. So I'll turn the values off, I'll turn the title off. And again, these grid lines are not necessary and not needed in here as well. So I'll go to grid lines and make sure that the vertical grid lines are turned off as well. And next thing is to, on the x-axis, for example, let's format the dates in here. The values, they should be, for example, of size 11 or maybe 10, and they should be bolder. On top of that, the color of these values should be black. And for the line itself, what I need to do is I'll go down here and select the line. Number one thing is to change the line color, and for the color I'll click here and select, for example, let's pick this dark blue color for the line and make the line bolder. And last but not least would be to add the data labels to the line. So make sure that the data label is turned on from here. And since you can see that some of the data labels are located below the line, some of them are above the line. If you come here, the position will be automatic. We need to change this to above or below or whatever we want to do with that. And again, the value, it should be bigger, and again, bold. So once this is done, the last thing would be to change the title of our chart. So go to general, from title, this should be not sum of sales, but sales per year. I can increase the size as well, or maybe make this bold, or maybe change the color to a color that I would like. For example, this red color from here. So again, creating other charts will follow the same method and same path. And for your information, there are a bunch of videos available in the Power BI playlist of this YouTube channel. You can refer to those to understand how different types of charts are created using Microsoft Power BI. So the most important thing in here is if you want to create a visual which needs data from multiple sources, that is why we need to connect data from multiple sources in Microsoft Power BI. So basically, I want to know what quantity of each of category of items is returned through all the returns made in this time period. So for that reason, what I would need is I'll have the category from the orders data set, but I will have the other information from the returns data set in here. So for that purpose, I'll create a donut chart. I'll click the donut chart from here, and let's make it a little bit bigger in order for everything to be visual. So I'll have the order ID and I'll place it under the value since I want this to be counted, how many of each of the categories are returned. So next thing would be to see which category and how many. So what I will do is I'll drag the category under the legend in here. So this basically what it does is the order ID is connected to the order ID in here. And that order ID in here knows what is the category right in front of it. So if it was in multiple sources and were not corrected correctly, we wouldn't be able to create such a visual. So right now we know that around 1,080 of the items returned are furniture, and the same applies for the other two categories of items as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. In Engineeringly, we teach a wide range of subjects from structural engineering to data analysis to project management. If that's something like you're interested in, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel and following us on Instagram and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.